Hey, Brandon here. Welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in. This is my first of many mock drafts, all right? It is rookie season. As you guys know, if you've been a subscriber to my channel here, I've been doing a lot of rookie work, but I do a lot of Devy films and stuff like that. So it is rookie season. I've got tons and tons of great content on here to get ready for your 2023 NFL draft, rookie drafts. But I'm also going to be looking to the future. So if you're a Dynasty player and you've come across this video, Devy is really a term for developmental players. Basically, all it is guys that are in the pipeline that are hopefully going to hit our Dynasty roster. So if you play Dynasty and you want to stick around, take a look at this video. It's going to give you a future of what the landscape looks like and some future players for 2024 draft, 2025 draft, and the 2026 draft, right? So on my Devy to Dynasty dashboard, which is a product that I sell, there's a great featured video on this channel. Go check it out. I've moved all the 2023 eligible draft players and put them into their own rookie ranks and dynasty ranks, and now I'm left re-ranking right now all of the 2024, 2025, and 2026 players. Yes, here on this channel, we go deep. So this channel is dedicated to helping the people who play Dynasty look to the future. So hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you for tuning in. So listen, I went out to my dashboard crew and I said, hey, who wants to do a 5-round Devy mock draft, right? Of course, within 2 or 3 minutes, I've got all the people that want to play. So we did a 5-round Devy mock, right? But I'm only going to go through the first 3 rounds to make this video not too long, right? So it's going to be interesting, right? Now that we've, like I said, we've got that 2023 class kind of moving on to the rookies, I have to re-rank all my Devy players, right? So it's kind of like a transition right now, but no better time to do a good, fun mock draft right now. So let's not waste any time. This is going to be a Superflex PPR tight end premium mock draft. So it's going to be 3 rounds, 12 guys, 36 picks. Let's get right to it. All right. Since I started the draft, took the first pick. All right. And it was a pretty easy pick for me. They're going to probably most likely go for a running back or a quarterback. But here you'll see I took Caleb Williams, USC quarterback. He is for sure right now with Stroud and Bryce Young heading to the NFL and Anthony Richardson now also declaring for the NFL draft. Caleb Williams is the clear #1 quarterback of the future in our dynasty rosters, right? So he is the Devy QB1, and I'm not going to pass him up here. I want that, we all play in Superflex. You need 2 or 3 good quarterbacks in Superflex leagues. We know that, right? So I'm going to take a shot with Caleb Williams here. He looks like, being compared to the next Mahomes, he looks like it the way he can play off script with the arm talent and everything. So he should be the 2024 QB1 without a doubt. I'm taking him here with the 101. All right. With the 102 pick, Marvin Harrison Jr. comes off the board. He is a 2024 eligible wide receiver. He's the wide receiver 1 right now, probably in all of college football. Good pick here at the second pick in the first round. You want to get that pass catcher. As we know, really successful dynasty teams always have a really good crew of elite wide receivers. Marvin Harrison should be a first-round draft pick next year, so I like that selection right there. Coming in at the 103, Trevion Henderson, Ohio State running back. He is also 2024 eligible. Seems to have been falling a little bit in the Devy kind of scope, right? Out of sight, out of mind, right? We have a recency bias with Nick Singleton, who we're going to see his name here very shortly, and Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss as well. But listen, man, this time last year, Trevion Henderson was really kind of either him or Bijan Robinson was the RB1 in Devy. So I like this pick. Didn't play much this year, was nicked up pretty much all season, but he could come back next year. He should be one of the better running backs heading to the draft in 2024. So like that pick, nothing wrong with taking Trevion Henderson here. A lot of people are starting to fade him because he's been nicked up a little bit. But listen, this time, like I said last year, he was the guy. All right. Coming in at number 4 in the first round, Raheem Sanders, Arkansas running back. He is also a 2024 eligible. Man, this is a 6'2", 227-pound power back. He was impressive this year. He had 1,400 yards, 10 TDs, averaged 6.5 yards a carry. So this might be a little bit of a surprise for a pick. I mean, Nick Singleton, Quinshon Judkins, but I like it, man. It's spicy, man. And listen, in Devy, you take your freaking guy. You take who you like. Listen, ADP, ranks, all that's great. Even in Dynasty, all that's great. But when it comes down to it, if you love a player, you take them where you feel the value's there. So I like that, taking Sanders here with the 4th pick. And it's safe with a running back, right? There's only going to be 2 or 3 probably stud running backs as we see in this draft coming off in the first round anyway. So coming in at the 5th pick at the 105, Drake May, exciting quarterback, UNC. He's also eligible in 2024. Right now, he is with Caleb Williams, probably the QB2 in all of Dynasty. or all of Devy rather. But he faded down the stretch this year a little bit, and he didn't really have a great game against Clemson in the ACC championship game. So, but listen, here's the thing about Drake May for me. Good player, but Tyler Van Dyke, we kind of did this same thing last year, right? Tyler Van Dyke was a great player at Miami. We propped him up, and he was going to be a potentially first rounder, and he went into oblivion. Now, listen, I'm not going to say that's going to happen with Drake May. However, I think we have to just hold the Jets to think that Drake May is a bona fide star. He just lost his offensive coordinator. He's going to lose Josh Downs. So this year coming in, he's going to have to learn a new system and get some receivers, hopefully in the transfer portal, which is open right now. UNC can get some playmakers for Drake May for him to continue. He has decided that he is staying at UNC, even though his offensive coordinator left. So big season next year. He's either going to be great and he's going to still continue that value, or I could see him getting, possibly falling in value a little bit if he doesn't have a production of a season. But listen, quarterback ones, it's nice to see, taking in a quarterback here early. Not something I do a lot in Devy unless they feel like they're a lock to hit our dynasty roster. But after Caleb Williams, he is the next best option out there right now. So I don't think that that's a bad selection at all. All right, coming in at 106, Quinshon Judkins, Ole Miss running back. There is no hotter name right now. He is a 2025 eligible draft prospect. Came in as a freshman, shared the backfield with Evans, and really outshined Evans in many, many games. So he was a fan favorite of mine even before the season. 1,500 yards and 16 TDs as a true freshman. He's got everybody's attention, so I like that pick. I have many shares of myself of him in my Devy leagues, and I'm very happy with that. Coming in at 107, Nick Singleton from Penn State, 2025 eligible. Again, an incoming freshman who came in, did really well. He split the backfield with Katron Allen. He's going to be another name you're going to hear very shortly. But listen, we got high hopes for him. He had 941 yards, 10 touchdowns, and averaged 6.3 yards a carry. So Nick Singleton, things are looking up for Penn State. We're going to hear another player or two from Penn State here in these first 3 rounds, okay? Coming in at the 8, we have a run on running backs here. Continues, okay? We had Marvin Harrison, number 2 selection, and now we've got this run on running backs, right? All these stud running backs usually typically come off the board because the wide receiver position is so much deeper, right? But Braylon Allen, Wisconsin, kind of came off him a little bit, but you got to love, his size, and I think people still think he had a little bit of a down year at Wisconsin this year. But, he's part of that 2024 running back class that looks pretty strong. It looks like we're going to have 3 or 4 solid, 4, maybe 5 options in 2024, similar to the 2023 class that we're going to be drafting next year in our rookie draft. So like that selection. Our second wide receiver comes off the board at the 109, Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. Not surprised at all that 2 Ohio State wide receivers are the first 2 off the board in Devy. They produce wide receivers. Brian Hartline, that wide receivers coach there, just grinds out these guys. They all seem to hit the NFL in some capacity anyway. But look, over 1,000 yards, 9 TDs, 15 yards, 0.7 yards per reception. Nice vertical play. I mean, him and Marvin Harrison are both going to be back next year. It's going to be really interesting to see who their quarterback is. We're going to talk about a name or two here shortly of who that could possibly be, but they are not going to have CJ Stroud unless he shocks the world and comes back for his senior year, which I don't imagine happens, but you never know. Kayshon Boutte came back, right? And we never think that was going to happen. All right, coming in at the 10th pick in the first round is Brock Bowers, a big tight end, not a big tight end, but a productive tight end from Georgia. He is arguably the tight end one in all of Devy. Okay, he's not going to hit our rosters again until 2024. So in this mock draft, again, as a reminder, we don't have 2023 eligible players unless one of them that we think are going to declare comes back and goes to the 2024 draft. But right now, Bowers has been and is continuously the best receiving option right now in Georgia. All right, so he is productive, great athlete, explosive, 726 yards, 6 touchdowns. I mean, he was the leading receiver, for Georgia and the leading receiving option. And I think that's going to continue as we watch the playoffs here as they commence here in the next few weeks. All right, coming in at the 111 is Branson Robinson. All right, so incoming freshman this year who didn't get much of the rock at Georgia. He's not eligible to be drafted till 2025, but, he got the ball a little bit, showed some flash, but man, this is a high recruit. He's built solid. Already got that frame coming out of high school. He was a man amongst boys in high school. But Georgia running backs, people take shots with Georgia and Alabama running backs, right? They have a history of putting running backs on our Dynasty roster, so I don't mind the call here. Wasn't very productive his freshman year, but as we know in Georgia and Alabama, a lot of these guys, don't get the rock early because they've got so much talent in their backfields, all right? So at the 112, to finish out the first round was Donovan Edwards, Michigan running back, 2024 eligible. He's a sophomore this past year. Look, he's an outstanding ball catcher out of the backfield. That's what has inflated his value, especially if you play C2C leagues. He's a great asset, but Corum got hurt a little bit down the stretch here. Didn't play in the game against Ohio State, and he tore it up. It'll be interesting to see if Blake Corum comes back or not. He's not in this draft, obviously, because we feel as though he's going to draft. He is going to the 2023 draft, but we really don't know yet. But Edwards had 872 yards, 7 TDs, averaging 7.5 yards on the ground, and he had 17 receptions for 192 yards and 2 TDs. So he's a really good, versatile back. He's an ascending Devy asset right now. Guys are pretty excited. So that is the first round, and I'm pleasantly surprised to see that only 2 quarterbacks were taken in Devy, and that is my rule of recommendation to you watching this video. If you do play Devy and you do a startup draft in Devy, don't reach for those quarterbacks. The hit rate is very rare. Don't give up a good wide receiver or running back prospect for a quarterback, unless you really feel as though they're going to hit, which it can be tough to do. All right, let's get to the second round. At the 201, Quinn Ewers, we just talked about not many getting drafted in the first round. This feels about right? Ewers went to Texas, big recruit, didn't play for a couple years, but I mean, he struggled a little bit this year. He had some good games, some bad games, but he hadn't played for a couple years. First year in the system, so I think we got to give him a pass, but next year is going to be the litmus test for Ewers. He's going to have to come out. He's got a good receiver in Worthy. He's got a good tight end in Sanders. Bijan Robinson should be opening up the secondary for him as they load the box to try and stop Bijan this year. So he showed some flashes. He's a young player. He needs some more time and some more growth. But as a Devy asset, he's going to be up there in the quarterback ranks rather, and guys are going to take a shot. So this seems about right to take Quinn Ewers here at the beginning of the second round. All right, at the 202, Luther Burden, exciting wide receiver. Really decent season at Missouri. He is a 2025 eligible, but he looks like that alpha kind of wide receiver one with the size, the athleticism, the build, the versatility. He can win all over the field. They used him a lot in the running game at Missouri a little bit. So, I mean, Luther Burden was the number one wide receiver recruit coming in as a freshman this past season. So not surprised to see him here. I'd love to see him transfer. He's already, I think, committed back to Missouri. Would have loved to have seen him go to a better program with a better quarterback and supporting cast to really showcase his skills. But you watch the kid on film, he just drips with, just has the look of being a solid wide receiver that should hit our dynasty rosters in the future. All right. The 203, Will Shipley, running back from Clemson, 2024 eligible prospect, ran for over 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5.8 average. He was the focal point really of the Clemson offense as DJU had struggled. Klubnik, as we saw, got put in there at the ACC championship game. I'm expecting Will Shipley to be the focal point again next year. We have some developing receivers. We're going to talk about one of them here shortly. In Clemson, but I think that offense is going to continue to run the ball and focus that offense around Shipley. So that's a solid pick here, as he should continue to get plenty of carries next year. All right, coming at the 204 is Barrion Brown, an exciting young wide receiver from Kentucky. He is a true freshman this year, so he's eligible to be drafted in 2025. Explosive receiver, 604 yards, 4 touchdowns, but he's a special team star as well. Had some very, very great returns and punt returns. He's just an explosive player, and I can see why people get excited about him. Little concerned, he's 6'1", 166 pounds. He's a little on the light side, so hopefully he can get up to 175 maybe, kind of get to that Devonta Smith size before he hits the NFL, but he's got 2 years to do that, and we have to assume that that's going to be one of his primary goals, is to put on a little bit of weight before he declares for the NFL draft. All right, coming in at number 205, Xavier Worthy, another exciting wide receiver, playing with Texas, playing with Ewers. He is ineligible to be drafted in 2024 in 2 years. He will be a junior next year. Another small frame but explosive receiver. He's almost the exact same size as Barrion Brown, the guy we just talked about. kind of took a little bit of a step back in production this year, which is kind of interesting because with Ewers and all the excitement of him coming into the program at Texas, I was expecting a little bit more production out of Worthy. So, but listen, he is a space creator. He's shifty. He's got all the elements to be a solid wide receiver. Again, hopefully he can also add a little bit more to his frame at 163 pounds is pretty light. All right, coming in at 206, Kayshon Boutte comes in from LSU. Okay, we all thought he was going to go to the NFL draft. Here he is back in the Devy ranks and back in a Devy mock draft. He's coming back to LSU for his senior year. Concerns me a little bit, not going to lie. Can see, I think this is good value for him coming off, as you can see, him being drafted here kind of maybe thinks that other people are also having a little bit of a concern. Maybe he didn't get the news that he wanted to be from the NFL, but not a really good not a really good year for him. He had some issues coming off an injury, new coach, Daniels, the quarterback was inconsistent. So look, he's probably going to come back and say, hey, I'm going to come back my senior year, tear it up, and get my draft capital back. So I guess that's his plan. Still a really good, solid receiver to have on your Devy squad. Good value here in the middle of the second. Okay, 207, and we got a little run here on wide receivers now. Evan Stewart, exciting, was one of the top prospects coming in as a freshman. Texas A&M, he's eligible to be drafted in 2025. But again, another productive receiver, 53 catches, 649 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We just hope that he gets the quarterback to really showcase his skills. But this kid is exciting. He's got all the skills. Another good wide receiver that should hit our dynasty rosters in a couple years. All right. The 208, we got Drew Aller. All right. He is a quarterback going to Penn State, 2025 eligible. He was an incoming freshman. Now we know Clifford played most of the year for Penn State. And so I'm assuming that Drew is going to take over next year and be the guy. So good. I live outside of Philadelphia. My son is actually going to go to Penn State next year, so I'm pretty excited for him. I'm going to be meeting him up there for some games for sure, watching Singleton and Katron Allen, and hopefully Drew Aller, who is the guy next year. And I think this program needs to turn the page from Clifford. Just from we've seen enough of him. He needs to move on. So exciting times for Penn State. All right, interesting pick here at the 209. We got Jaden Ott, running back from Cal. He's a 2025 eligible. He was a true freshman this year. A little bit of a surprise pick here, but here for me this early. But listen, here we are at this stage of the game, man. This is where you take your guys, and I always say this to the people that are my dashboard subscribers. You take your guy, man. There are so many hits and misses in this game that we love, Devy. If you love Jaden Ott, his pass catching ability, I think, is what got him here drafted. I mean, he caught, what do I got here? He caught 46 balls as a freshman. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds, productive, on the ground and receiving. So, when you're a running back and you're getting that dual threat ability with being able to catch a lot of passes and using the passing game, that's a plus for you as a running back. So I can kind of see what the allure is here to drafting him here close to the end of the second round. All right. 210, Devin Neal, running back from Kansas. Another kind of interesting pick. A little bit of a reach here given the guys, but, maybe not either. This obviously I think Dan picked Dan, one of my longtime subscribers to the dashboard. I know he's been a big fan of Devin Neal, and I like it. He had 5'11", 210 pounds. He's got that size, little raw as a runner, but over 1,000 yards, 9 TDs, averaging 6.2 yards a carry. So take your guy, man. You like Devin Neal here? I like it. You take your guy. All right, coming in at 211, I'm a little surprised Cade Klubnik actually fell this far. All right, so like I said before, I'm not a big advocate of drafting quarterbacks early, like in the top 7-8 picks, unless you think they're really going to hit. But Cade Klubnik now coming from Clemson, a program that has put some quarterbacks in the NFL. It's going to be his team next year. A little surprised he fell this far, but so good value here for Cade Klubnik. He should be the guy. He'll be eligible to be drafted in 2025. He was a true freshman this year, so we're going to have to wait a little bit, but he's got 2 years to put on some really good film and hopefully hit our dynasty rosters. All right. Coming in, all right, this is my pick. I had the first pick in here, so this was obviously a snake draft. I've got this pick, and I took Tatoria McMillan. I call him T-Mac because I'm horrible with names, but I love this kid, man. He reminds me of like a young Drake London. He's got that length. He's got that size. As a true freshman, 702 yards, 8 TDs, averaging 18 yards a catch. He's an explosive receiver. He's going to have a good opportunity next year. Cowing decided to come back. Jacob Cowing is coming back to Arizona. Dorian Singer is a transfer who is another really nice receiver. Arizona had some really nice receivers this year. He hit the transfer portal, so stock up for T-Mac. I've got big ideas and big plans for him. Like his tallness. I like his frame. I like his go up and get it, my dog ability. I've watched a lot of his film. Player that I really like. I got the next pick here at the 3.01. All right, so I went with Trevor Etienne here. Liked what I saw with him at Florida. He's, again, a true freshman at Florida. I like what I saw. He's got decent size, little on the short side, 5'9", but he's got that build at 217. Love his footwork. I put a couple tweets out there, made a couple films of him on this YouTube channel. Really, really like his lateral ability, his stop and cut, and ability to reaccelerate. And to me, that is one of the things I look for in running backs is, that explosiveness and shiftiness and being able to accelerate off a cut. I think that kid has it. He had 705 yards, 6 TDs, and average 6.4 yards, a carry in the SEC. So sign me up. So I took Trevor Etienne here. Going to the second pick in the third round, Ja'Cory Brooks from Alabama, 2024. He was a sophomore this year. The entire Alabama wide receiver crew, I felt just kind of disappointed. And we didn't have those stars that were talked about all the time. It seemed, you had Kobe Prentice, you had JoJo Earl just hit the transfer portal. He's actually leaving Alabama. They're going to have a new, quarterback next year. But Ja'Cory Brooks was the guy this year who was the most consistent wide receiver in Alabama. I like it. I like the pick here. I think it's pretty good value down here in the third round. A guy I really like drafted here at the 303, the third pick of the third round, is Antonio Williams. He was, to me, the leading receiver at Clemson. He's a 2025. He was a true freshman this year. Love this pick. He really emerged as the go-to receiver for Clemson. Him and Klubnik should make sweet music next year, and I expect Antonio Williams' stock to continue to rise in the Devy ranks. In the 304 is Mario Williams, USC. The Williams to Williams connection, Caleb Williams to Mario Williams next year probably is going to be what we hear, but I have a feeling USC is going to get some players out of the transfer portal, but he should be, Caleb's number one target next year with Addison going to the NFL. So big opportunity for Mario Williams to really get some more film. I'd like to see him be a little better, manipulating defenders, because he did a lot of damage just running around in open space with Caleb Williams scrambling around, finding him in the second level and stuff. But still, good receiver, high recruit. Like it here at 3.04. All right. A little interesting pick here at number 5. The fifth pick in the third round is Jadon Blue, all right, from Texas. So this guy was really, really propped up last year. Not being highly ranked in the recruiting services for a myriad of reasons, but a lot of people in the Devy community last year had this guy as the second best back and stuff. For me personally, I wasn't one of those guys. I never, I liked his high school film to a certain degree, but I didn't see him being like this superstar. But nonetheless, here he is being drafted in the middle of the third round. My concern is that Cedric Baxter, the second ranked running back, has committed to Texas, who's got a good physical size. And, does he come in right now and take over? We know Rashawn Johnson's going to the NFL. Bijan Robinson's not going to be there. So that Texas backfield's wide open for next year. Is it going to be Jadon Blue? Is it going to be Baxter? We're going to have to find out. But take a shot. There's a lot of people that still love Jadon Blue and his high school tape. So you can kind of see him going here at the 3.05, because here we are, man. This is where you just, again, you're taking your guys. If there's a player that you like and you don't think you're getting them the next round, just take them, all right? So at the 6th pick in the third round is Matthew Golden, University of Houston wide receiver, incoming freshman this year. He was a true freshman. He's not draft eligible till 2025. Really, he was the second leading receiver behind Nathaniel Dell, who was just a monster this year for Houston. I think Dell is going to go to the NFL, but either way, he had 567 yards, 7 TDs, and averaged 15.8 yards a carry. A reception. So explosive receiver. I like it. Matthew Golden kind of was a Devy darling last year. A lot of people out there liked him, and he delivered 567 yards and 7 TDs as a true freshman. That's good stuff. So another receiver who's kind of rising is the next pick here at the 3.07 is Malik Neighbors from LSU. All right, he is a sophomore this year. He'll be draft eligible in 2024. He kind of emerged as the guy for LSU as Boutte was coming off his injury and kind of getting acclimated back into. It was Neighbors who was really the go-to receiver for Jaden Daniels this year, and really made some spectacular catches on the sideline. Good vertical playmaker. He had 854 yards, 2 TDs, averaging 13.6 yards a catch. So stock up from Malik Neighbors. He's a hot name right now in Devy, so I can understand why people are feeling pretty good about getting him in the middle of the third round. With the 8th pick in the third round, we had Katron Allen. Okay, he split the backfield with Nicholas Singleton this year. 2025, again, a true freshman, good size, 5'11", 211 pounds. He had 830 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaged 5.3 yards a carry. He's going to share the backfield with Singleton unless he transfers for the next 2 years. So stock up. I think both of those guys are going to be a 1-2 punch for Penn State, which I think is a good plan for them because Penn State's lacking some elite receivers right now. They just don't have that elite playmaker. Parker Washington, I'm assuming, is going to the NFL, but maybe he comes back for his senior year if he doesn't get the draft buzz. He's been a very quiet wide receiver prospect for the NFL draft. I'm thinking you got a young freshman. Well, he'll be a sophomore quarterback, but really his first year starting in Aller. I can only imagine Franklin is going to pound the ball with these two kids. So Katron Allen here should get a ton of play next year, like this pick here at the end of the third round. All right, at the 9th pick in the third round, we got Jatavian Sanders. I mean, he was really one of the primary receivers for Texas this year, besides Worthy and Whittington. He's probably the tight end too right now. I mean, tight end, as we all know in Devy and even in Dynasty, they're a dime a dozen unless you have one of the top elite guys. Can Jatavian Sanders be an elite tight end at the NFL level? I'm not sure. It's still a little early, but I like it here. If you're in a tight end premium league, you know they score a shit ton of points, so it's nice to get that tight end on your team if in fact you're in a tight end premium league, which a lot of Superflex leagues are turning to that. So because this is a tight end premium league, I can see why someone's taking Sanders here. All right, so last 3 picks, all quarterbacks here. All right, with the 310 Ty Simpson at Alabama. And I'm excited to talk about this because, for all these big programs, Alabama, Ohio State, even Georgia, they're all going to have new quarterbacks next year. Right now, Ty Simpson was drafted last year. He's a 2025 quarterback, okay? You got Jalen Milroe there, okay, who is, got a little play this year when Bryce Young was dinged up and played a little bit. So really nobody knows what's going to do. Is Alabama going to get an incoming transfer and put these two back on the ice? I'm not sure. But Ty Simpson, high recruit, people liked him. I like it here. Take a shot with an Alabama quarterback. They all end up going to the NFL. So if he gets the starting nod next year, I'm not, a Milroe guy. I don't think he's not typically what Alabama has. So good pick here with Simpson. It's a flyer. You're at the end of the third round. Take a shot. All right. 311, Archie Manning going to Texas. He's a QB, not till 2026. So here's our first incoming freshman pick. It took all the way to the end of the third round to finally get Arch Manning. Interesting, he threw 2 picks and a fumble and got clobbered and lost huge in his championship, his last game as a high school player. Didn't show up to the big party. He's going to have to be behind Ewers, and which is probably a good thing. He's probably not ready to come in and start. I just have always said that this poor man must be under so much pressure being part of the Manning family and the expectations. I hope he makes it to some way. I mean, I just feel for the kid. He just is under the microscope constantly, and that's got to be really hard for a 20-year-old. Okay. But I like the pick here. It's the upside pick. And here we are again with, if you don't like the wide receivers and you're not going to reach for a running back, man, go for gold. Take a high, risk with you're going to have to wait a little bit, but it might pan out. And the last pick of this draft at the 312 is Devin Brown from Ohio State. I like this because same exact thing we just talked about with Ty Simpson, right? Is it going to be Kyle McCord? Is it going to be Devin Brown? Now, Devin Brown flashed a little bit in the spring game and certainly showed, with some really nice passes. He had this really nice post pattern, the back of the end zone that was really, a good play. Seems to have the arm talent. But again, Ohio State, their quarterbacks seem to go to the NFL. So why not take a shot with a program that puts NFL, quarterbacks in the NFL? Devin Brown, we don't know if it's going to be McCord or Devin Brown. Even before I recorded this, I'm still searching. I can't find any answers to that question. So I don't think we're going to find out probably till the spring. And maybe they don't even know yet either. But so there you got it, guys, man. There is the first, Devy mock of the season. Again, my channel here is really dedicated to getting you ready for your rookie drafts and putting people on your Dynasty rosters. So I hope you enjoyed this. And if you're a fan of your Dynasty guy and you really don't do Devy and you kind of stuck around to watch the video, I appreciate it. That's what this channel is all about, scouting tomorrow's Dynasty players for you today. So all of this information came from my Devy Devy and Dynasty Dashboard, which is a product that I sell. There's my email address below if you want a 2-week free version of it to kind of check it out. But it's really great research center for you to research Dynasty players, upcoming Devy players. I mean, I've got players ranked from that are playing Dynasty right now all the way till 2026. So it is a fantastic research center to keep you abreast of actually what's going to be happening in the future for your Dynasty roster. So, all right, man, there you got it. I appreciate you, sticking around, listening to this and watching it, and hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.